Thanks for joining me, Tala. How you doing today?
Very good. Thanks for having me, Vincent.
Good. This is my second generation podcast where I want to share with the viewers and get into the some of the success and some of the challenges of being in a family run operation, of which you can, I believe, you're a part of, correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So the name of your company is, obviously I want you to talk about it to set the framework, is Victoria Pulse out of British Columbia. The company was started by your father, Abbas, in 2002. And you're currently going through the transition of your father taking a different role, doing other things, and you and your sister are being molded to run the operation.
That's correct.
That's That sounds exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
You got that right. Exciting and terrifying at the same time. Isn't that life an entrepreneur?
I love it. Very true. So, few questions, kind of to get the ball rolling. Tell us about, or as much as you know, obviously your father founded the company, and was he the founder in 2002?
He is. He was the founder in 2002. Yes.
Give us a little. Let's give Pop some credit. So let's go. Give us a little bit of the history of how your father, where he came from, how did he get into it, and some of the maybe risk versus reward war stories you may have heard. So give us a little background on your father.
So yeah, well, it's a lot of let's get Pop some positive points. Yes, you got that. He started the company in 2002 when we moved to Canada from the Middle East. And before that, he was in the ag sector. So he was basically trading and exporting tea for business. And when we moved to Canada in 2000 and in 2002, well, he's like, I'm an entrepreneur. I still need to run a business, find a new one. Let's find a similar link of business where my buyers can buy the same products. And Canada was one of the largest producers of pulses back in the day in the world. And he started this company, Victoria Pulse Trading, and he started trading pulses from Canada, Saskatchewan, to the same buyers where he was trading tea. And that's how, in a nutshell, how it started. So imagine a Middle Eastern, old school.
Sure. What country in the Middle East did you come from?
So we're Persian origin, but I grew up in Dubai. So we lived in Dubai for a good 18 years before we moved to Canada.
Wow. Yeah. So you were raised in Dubai as a teenager and child.
Dubai. Yeah, I was
very
raised
interesting.
in Dubai. Born in Iran, raised in Dubai.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, and your father, when he moved over, is with, I assume, your family, like your mother and sister as well?
So when we actually immigrated here, but we didn't actually officially move. So he was just trading while we were finishing school. And I made the first official move in 2004, and the rest of the family followed. But he had started the business way before I had started to move and come here for university. So he started the business. So he started the business. He was trading. And I had no idea what the business was about. I was not even involved in the business until years later.
So it's funny you say that. To a layman, what is pulse? It's a term I'd never heard of, except for when you just said it.
So that's a question I get asked by everyone if they're not within Saskatchewan, Alberta, Winnipeg, or Montana.
Okay.
So pulse is classified as legumes, lentils, peas, chickpeas, and beans, flax seeds. Not grains or cereals. There are two different categories. Pulse is the special crops of grains, I would say.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So your father went from the Middle East to Canada, started his company, and he was clever enough to start something and target the same clients he already had. That was a smart idea. And then so let's fast forward. So today, tell us where the company started to where it is today. Like, give us an idea of just your size and scope, from day one to now, as you guys have grown. Give us an idea.
Okay. So in a nutshell, when in 2002, when we started, we were only exporting, we were just traders. So we would buy from Canadian companies, processors, we call them. We were more of a third party or end party, buying it and then exporting it to the one destination into the Middle East, into the United Arab Emirates. We're just exporting to that destination. Fast forward in 2021 Today, we have vertically integrated. We have our own processing facility. We have a base in Saskatchewan. We have full control of the quality control, full the logistics, the bagging, the packaging. We have the entire supply chain, and now we export all the way to Mexico, South America, Europe, to a lot of other Canadian companies that don't want to take on the risk of the origination and expand into the Middle East.
That's
So
awesome.
we have expanded the countries that we export to, and we have purchased the entire, most, like I would say 70% of the supply chain within Canada.
And so are you considered a manufacturer at this point, or like a
Yes,
food
we would be
processor? Is that the
considered
right
a
terminology?
processor slash manufacturer, because we're not
Gotcha.
manufacturing. It's not a manufactured good, but it's a processed good.
Understood. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like a great evolution for a company. And so fast forward today, when did you join the company, and kind of like where's your seat? And then I believe your sister also, Tina, also works
Mhm.
with the company. Why don't you
She
give us
does.
a little bit of when did that come about?
So I joined the company about 10 years ago in 2011. So this year marked my 10th year that I joined. And my sister joined 3 years ago. She's 6 years younger than me.
Got it.
With a family business, small company, you kind of end up wearing multiple different hats. So I kind of
Sure.
oversee most of the trading now, and oversee most of the operations and the finance. And my sister just getting into logistics and overseeing the plant operations.
That's awesome. And from what you said, correct me if I'm wrong, that your father, who's, ran the company now for over 20 years approximately,
Mhm.
wants to pivot and do different things and have you and your sister take more of a ownership role. Is that a fair thing to
Yes.
say?
That's true. So he's pivoted. He's mainly now in charge of project expansions, new machineries, new lines. And he still likes to trade with his original customers that he has back in the Middle East, a few of that he has as clients. But he's mainly in charge of the machinery expansion, the project expansion, as opposed to the operations and the daily activities
That's great.
entirely.
All right. Where do you see, so kind of where you're at now, like where do you, and this is just ideation. So it's 2021. You and your sister are going to take more of a leadership role within the company as your father focuses on different things. Where do you see this company going in 3 to 5 or even 10 years? Like, do you have a vision or even just a kind of a glimpse of where you think you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, in our industry, because it's very commodity based, and when it started, it was less commodity based. It was more, most of these companies were family driven, and everyone was selling. Yes, I mean, pulses are a commodity. You can't differentiate one from the other. But in the past, it was more quality driven, and most of the buyers and overseas, actually, in Canada, we don't really consume a lot of pulses, so it's hard to kind of understand the quality concept of it. But a lot of the buyers actually take it and they put it in supermarket shelves. So I noticed in the past 10 years, the industry moved away from quality control and legacy and branding and family businesses, and they're more corporate owned. What I like to see is to keep this family business intact and kind of foresee the legacy going through and developing that quality control and making sure that quality and the name is stuck together. So in the next 5-10 years, the buyers that we have, I like them to be a bit more loyal as we are loyal, and the quality grade, and kind of stick that name to the brand that we're delivering to them. Whether it's a wholesale, it's a B2B, it's still the brand and the name that we're going to follow.
That's exciting. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, we try. It's a commodity. It's going
I
to be
get
hard
it.
to get, but we want to make sure that it's not corporate owned. We don't want to be corporate, and
I
we want to
totally
keep the
get it.
family.
That's great. And where do you see, so as someone who can relate to you, as someone who's been through kind of what you're going through, what fears do you have in there?
Fears. Oh, again, the positive side, the goal is to keep it within the family, but the fear is, yes, there is always ups and downs. Small to medium sized businesses, with their bigger corporations in the commodity based sector, the fears are the same. Being able to compete. We're in a small margin business. And
Sure.
the fear is being able to compete with a lot of the overheads. We're an operating system. We have a lot of staff, operating
Hmm.
costs, expenses, and low margins. So the fear is being able to keep the legacy with today's world and expenses and challenges that we're having, especially with COVID and logistics,
Absolutely.
shipping costs. So all these challenges they're unavoidable.
Right. I can relate in everything you said in my own business, so I get it too. Um, and just and I don't, and if you haven't thought out this far, that's okay. Do you even have the gumption to say third generation, or is that just too far out to wrap your mind around?
That's too far out to wrap my mind, but it's too far out to wrap.
No
But
problem.
ask me again in 5 years, maybe things change or the industry evolves.
Okay.
End of the day, we're in the food sector. People have to eat. It's a staple. Pulses are a staple in the world. In a lot of major countries in South America and Central America and the Middle East and Europe, it's never going to go away. The form will change. The next step for us would be it will be the value add systems and how we want to incorporate the value adds. We do have some projects that we're in the R&D stages at the moment. So that would be the next stages, and perhaps maybe a third generation. Why not?
That's great. Well, listen, I appreciate some of your time. I'm sure Avis is very proud of Tala and Tina, and I'm
Wow.
sure you guys will kill it. And we wish you nothing but the best. Where can people find you if they happen to be related to your industry?
They can find me on LinkedIn,
Okay,
on Twitter,
cool.
and email.
Very cool. Thanks, Tala. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Vincent.